All right, I don't know. There's something just so kind of nutty about this matchup whenever I get to see it. So I thought I'd do this. It's going to be Delhi versus England, and it is definitely going to have to feature Salami. I mean, like, we've been doing some Delhi, and we haven't done Salami yet on the new patch. What the hell am I thinking? But who's his opponent going to be? Who's reasonable? Okay,
Yeah,
that
right,
was well
kid.
timed. You screwed up main intro, but thank you, Yaki. I appreciate it, bud. Mwah. Love ya. By the way, for those watching later, if you want to do that too, make sure you head across to twitch.tv and give me your primes. Give me your primes. Your primes. Okay, let's talk about who we've got here, because actually, ignore the Sacred Site victory. That hasn't somehow been triggered before the game's even begun. Instead, who we got? We got Luna playing in the red as England up against the Delhi Supremo, the Specialo. That's right, Salami. Needs no introduction, has featured several times on this channel already. Is a leviathan of playing the Delhi. 32nd in the world, guys. Now, I know what you're going to say. You're like, 32nd. I mean, like, that's not even first. That's not second. That's not third. That's not even, like, podium finish, Pigeon. What the hell? When was the last time you were 32nd in the world in anything? Other than something only having 32 people do it. Huh? I don't know when I was last 32nd at someone in the world. I'm not going to lie. That's impressive. Especially when you consider that he primarily just plays Delhi all the time, which still isn't like tier 1 best civ in the game, and also has 1,316 games played. You know what's even more impressive? Like, if we just keep tooting his horn, like, you know this guy used to be an Apex Legends player, right, guys? Y'all know that? He used to spam the crap out of Apex. I think he was fairly high ranked as well, if I recall correctly. Like, he never quite made it into the big times. He tried to qualify time and time again, kind of got like mid-pack rankings, but overall, very talented player. I always love to see those kind of cross-pollinations. A lot of people kind of get surprised when they see that as well. Like, when you have players that are phenomenal at both, I don't know, MOBA and an FPS or something like that. I think for Dota people who know who S4 is, S4 was always a big surprise to people because people didn't realize like he was, I can't remember the ranks now. He's one of the top ranks in CSGO back in X years ago, which was kind of phenomenal at the time. Like, what? But I love those crossovers. I mean, I myself like nerding out in a ridiculous bunch of different games, and it's kind of surprising to me still to this day the amount of people like I'll be playing, I don't know, let's say Apex Legends with a TI player or like, you know, a TI runner-up player or something like that. And then Age of Empires obviously has that kind of cool crossover. I'd say like the one that comes to mind most obviously for me is probably Grubby, like straight off the paper. Like Grubby loves to play Heroes of the Storm, plays the crap out of it. Obviously a former Warcraft champion in the RTS sphere. And it seems like he's pretty good at Heroes of the Storm as well. So always fun to have that kind of cross-pollination. Anyway, let's focus on the game. We've been kind of off in rocking chair land, kind of lulling and thinking about things long enough. Let's focus on England versus Delhi. Because the reason I've gone on this matchup is I find it quite an intriguing back and forth one. And usually every time I've tapped into this one, it's been fun to watch, especially when it's no water. So I feel like water is actually a big bait that usually leads to the Delhi player losing because it feels counterintuitive to not play underwater. And something that a lot of England players have started to clock onto is that actually, when you're on a water hybrid map as England, you don't even go on water. You let your opponent go on water, and then you show up with your pew-pew bows, right? You just fire away at them with longbows, and there's nothing they can do. So it's fun when I watch these Delhi players on the land maps where they don't have that option. They don't basically force themselves into losing the game if their opponent is smart enough to just build into bows. And instead, usually in this type of map, with this layout, I feel like, I don't know what it is with Delhi. Like, whenever Delhi appears, I almost feel like these spawn points are closer to the edge of the map and much easier to just wall yourself in, which is quite a big deal if you can achieve that as the Delhi. Just allows you to funnel out the center of your base and avoids that Benny Hills feeling where like you may be on the defensive with 1 or 2 tower elephants and you just have to keep very, 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 very slowly moving from the right side to the left side of your base, the right side, the south side, the north. You see where I'm going with this. Like, it's not fun. You want to be able to force attention into a choke point. Or just be the one on the aggressor, the one being responded to. A nice match on the tech up time. So Salami not really falling behind at all. Long way for English Longbow to run, but they will begin to run nonetheless because obviously Salami doesn't have a clear answer, you'd think, But he's done this matchup enough. He knows how England works in this. He is building in the stables. We'll get a few horsemen out and offset any potential aggression. One thing I love to see out of some players, we'll see if Salami does it as well, is they actually tend to waypoint their stable at their TC and then garrison the horsemen inside. The whole point is that your opponent shows up, and even if they have scout vision, beforehand they won't see what you're doing. They won't know. And this is so well played. He read it. Textbook. Lenok, oh man, Lenok is filthy at the moment. I feel like every time I'm checking his games, there's Outpost spamming, right? There's Outpost rush. It makes sense when he's mainly playing like Mongols in England. It's the two civs that I think are most credit to doing it. But it's such a good read by Salami to understand what's about to happen. So he drops the Outpost right next to it, is building it faster, and moves his scouts across to intercept the villager who's constructing. With the horsemen moving out, Lenok is going to be completely pushed back. He'll even lose one of the villies. And the horseman, this is value. Just chase in. Look what he's going to do. So the scout deals with the villager, and the bonus damage the horseman dishes out to the Lombo is going to come into effect as he chases him down. Oh, this is so well played. So he gets his outpost down. Lenok cancels his in the end. Horseman finds decent bang for buck. Scouts are still chasing, sniping his second villager. And Lenok, this has to be so frustrating. This was not the plan. This was not what was meant to happen. And the horsemen keep coming. And Salami, he feels confident right now. You can see Lenok, he miscalculated here. This early outpost opening reveals your whole hand. Because once Salami sees this, it credits him to go for additional horsemen. The reason being is he understands that his opponent cannot possibly have Iraq's down because England's economy is stretched too thin with the investment into an outpost initially. And even if he's building Iraq's now, it gives you wiggle room. It gives you a window of opportunity to pummel him right in the face and in the pooper with your foot for at least the next minute. And now he'll chill. Because there's no rush all of a sudden, right? He'll switch into archery range. It feels good. And yes, I will list that as weird sayings for the year. Pummel him in the pooper with your foot. I was going more for kick him in the arse, but I now realize that may have come across incorrectly. You know what doesn't come across incorrectly? An arrow to the face. And Lenok is looking to send a lot of those. He's starting to rack up the Lombos. The horseman production has been halted. Archery range was, of course, dropped by Salami. Salami not really leaving himself any room to kind of boost up, though. You can see, like, resource-wise, he's investing everything right now. And he is going for more of these horses. I feel like Lenok's count is really good for the state that this began with. I think the mistake that came out from Salami is because he was maybe worried about the switch over to spears after he reveals the horsemen. He just rushes them out one by one. So there's like 4 longbowmen who are split up that aren't even clustered together. They just pick you apart, and even if you get rid of one of the longbos, it takes ages to gap close on the additional ones, right? So I think that was maybe a mistake from Salami. He could have chilled, he could have backed off, grouped 3 or 4 of these horsemen and ran out. He has still, of course, got 2 sitting in the outpost, but I feel like this count is good right now for Lenok. The question is whether he can find a way in. This was fantastic, superb, mwah, chef's kiss, because I don't think enough players do this. I think a lot of players have started to finally catch on how important this is. This wall right here prevents everything that England wants to do. England now has this funnel choke point where there's an outpost covering, or they have to wrap far wide on the left side where there's no value here at all. And then if you want to get to the value, you have to go right around the back of the base. That is a risky move. If you do that, you're in, right? And you're stuck. And you can be flanked. So really, the only choice Lenok has is this right flank, where he can use the tree line as a natural defense, but that's just not an option when these walls go down. Take note, folks. This wins games. Do this in your games. Lenok will have to back up and chill. And that's good for Salami. Salami, like, the best case scenario for him is if he gets to cruise on through into the Castle Age. That's where he can be an omnipotent force in this game. Lenok needs to just try and boost up, I think. Like, it's going to be hard to get in. He is going for the battering rams. The problem is you haven't really been crippling the horseman count now after that initial bout. So you're playing a very, very dangerous strategy at this stage. You don't have your outpost down. You don't have any easy way of getting your outpost down, so you're not getting the attack speed buffs. And your opponent also has an easy fallback point of these outposts himself. And he's building the archers to complement the horsemen, which means that your small continuous spearmen are useless. And I'm not even sure if this was obvious to Lenok. I don't think he Did he scout out the... No, I don't think he scouted out the archers. Which means he's going to be taken aback. He might even stop producing spears at like 6 or 7. And I think he could get caught off guard and killed quite easily by 7 or 8 of these archers. And then he's just ruined. So we've got scouts. How many horsemen? So our scout count is... Yeah, I think if Salami gets up to like 8 horsemen at this rate, he could probably just run Leonok down. What's the archer count at? 11. Yeah, this is scary. And you've kind of revealed your hand, right? Like, you go in with this ram, not only have you revealed your investment in siege engineering, but it's 300 wood invested at this stage of the game. So you're not even trying to scale, and Salami will understand this. Salami will end up losing the scout, but look, the Lombo, he's giving him the rope to hang himself. He needs to be careful. Looks like, although they'll get through the outpost, the question is whether Leonok can now get one down himself. I don't think he has a forward villager anymore, so no. And that doesn't feel good to me. I think think about it this way, guys. What did you just invest to do this, right? So you paid for siege engineering, which, you know, decent price itself. So I'm trying to think what exactly it was. Was it 75 wood, 150 gold, something like that? So let's say around like 200, 250 resource range. Then you invested 300 wood. 550 wood to kill a scout and an outpost. So 550 resources for 150 resources. I'm going to have to go ahead and say that ain't a good trade. And I'm going to have to go ahead and say next time you want a trade, it's going to be much harder now. And you can just see the power of these archers just quickly walling everything up. And this is another beautiful thing about the Delhi, right? Because you're able to do this, you don't lose any efficiency in your economy. It's actually such an amazing element. I think it's easy to forget that this is another side to it, is like these wallings. Usually when you bring a villager out, that's lost time gathering, right? That's inefficiency. You could have got 10 more resources in this time. Don't have to worry about that. Like, if your army is in place, yeah, you're going to still spend the resources to build these, but it doesn't cost you any more. And you aren't dragging your villies away from actually productively gathering new resources for you. That means that for Delhi, it's just much easier to set up these choke points we talked about. And you can already see the choke point is there. And now you are in a problematic scenario if you're Leonok. Leonok even left the ram on the front. No! No! Why is this here? There's no way. Is it going to get out? The spears might save it just in time. Yeah, it looks like Salami is going to show some respect and back up. That could have easily been a lost ram, though, for nothing. And the archers are going to regroup. Once they regroup, Salami will take this fight, and he will win it. Horsemen. Trying to bait the spears a little. Scouts need to be careful, actually. They're cannon foddering in. And he reveals the Lombo line. He sees the archer count. This is not good for Leonok. Horsemen are in. Sticking on top of the Lombos. Archers, microing to snipe out these spears. Spears wasting time on the scout still. What a play out of Salami. The cannon fodder is effective. And he wins the port fight here. And all of a sudden, Leonok is going to have to get ready to go into turtle mode. They move out the other side after doing the damage, keep some of the horsemen alive. This scout play is on point, and Salami, you can see, is already starting to move out the skulls because he wants to take control of these sacred sites and get that juicy gold trickle into his pocket. He might even lose the ram as well. And the horsemen are thinking about cleaning up the Lombos. The archers can do that. I think you could chase this ram, to be honest. There we go. I think it might get back to base now, whereas before it definitely wouldn't have. It's going to be tight. But the important thing is the damage is done, right? You force your opponent to go double racks. He's actually investing in the man-at-arms. I can't believe that. That's how you know it's tough for Leonok. And look at this. The wolves coming out. Oh, my. Although, you may want to defend yourself. He's not actually paying attention. Salami, no. Salami, no. All right, he's going to back up. Just in time. Just to screw with the ram. We'll finally back up, though. So, man-at-arms now coming out. The bad news for Salami is he didn't spot this, right? He didn't hang around long enough to see man-at-arms coming out, so this will catch him by surprise. The question is, what can you do with it as Leonok? Because all the sacred sites are now under the control of Salami. He triggers that win condition at the 14-minute mark. And he's definitely in a strong position right now. You're going to have to be quick moving out as England, and that isn't exactly something that England's known to do well. I wouldn't really use the word quick when I talk about England. I know they like to rush, but like we talked about time and time again, it's not like when France rushes you, right? It's not this kind of hammer and anvil in and out sort of strategy. It's this slow but methodical smashing of every barrier in your way. At least he has his battering ram to assist with that smashing. Problem is, Salami, does he actually want to fight this anymore, or do you just exploit this to tech up? I think you should be teching up here. You have Sanctity, right? So if we look at the income per minute, Salami has 0 people on goal, guys. 600 gold per minute. Seems reasonable. Seems reasonable. Yeah, he's just wasting his time with walls. I think Salami should just hoard now. Just go immediately into castle. Because even if your opponent wants to decap all these sites, it's going to take so much time. And he wants to decap because he doesn't want you to have control of these. It's just so much additional influx for the Delhi player if you let him keep these. And because he walls them, you have to send a sizable force to get through these walls. It's really well played by Salami. He's offsetting all of England's primary timings. And it means that Lenok is in this uncomfortable situation where he can't sit back and scale for castle. But at the same time, he can't get in and make a killing blow on the Delhi player. This is phenomenal. This is exactly how you should be playing Delhi, guys. And more of these walls going up. And you see it's just shifting across. I mean, these archers could just snipe. They could snipe out the spear right now. They could have actually... I think it's a little bit too late. Salami didn't quite realize it. So missed opportunity there. He could have easily killed the spearman and stopped him from decapping the sacred site and screwed over Lenok entirely. But we'll move in now and screw him anyway. And then he'll finish constructing these walls, and then I think he'll just send another scholar out. And this is the Benny Hills mode. This is not good for Lenok. I mean, Lenok, yes, he decaps the site, but he's making no progress. Meanwhile, look at Salami. Tech up's complete. 19 people working on a House of Learning achieved. And now you're on the timer. Lenok needs to find a way out of this problem. Immediate queue up. We've seen a few players accidentally forget to do this on time, but in this game, especially for a vet like Salami, 1, he's not going to miss a second of research time here. And 2, what else has he got to focus on right now? He's in cruise mode. He understands that Lenok is the one panicking, running around in circles, confused about what to do. Horsemen are going to be kind of cannon fodder in an awkward way, not really getting any real bang for buck here. But in fairness, I mean, just delaying a little bit might be enough. He wants to try and cap the sacred site, but he doesn't hang around for it. Lombos have too much range, so he'll just back away and accept that he's not getting his hands on that site. Still has 1, though. Still giving that passive income of 200 gold per minute. Salami, more importantly, now able to access the big guns if he wants to. And it looks like for now he's not going to be doing it. He's not going to be going to the elephants, but he is upgrading his archers. And he's vastly ahead of Lenok. Lenok now trying to fix that by going up himself. But look at the relic gathering. Straight in. Returns all the goodies. He says, okay, yeah, what? In fairness, well played. Well played, Lenok. You took away my passive gold. Wait a second. There's something else that gives me passive gold in this game. Suck it. And now the Mangonels. I mean, Lenok, he's definitely behind here. And he went greedy. He went for the King's Palace, which can bite you in the arse a little. It means that you're actually behind on siege production, right? Like, your wood situation, you're going to have to fix it fast. Now, of course, as the minutes go on, Lenok is going to bounce back pretty hard because you're going to have that TC advantage. But I think the initial advantage of this Mangonel spam could be enough for Salami to just take a critical win in the center and then snowball it into a victory in the game. So it's very important that Lenok doesn't get caught off guard by this. And I think it's very important that he surrenders ground to it. If he tries to fight immediately without having siege weapons, anti-siege in position, I think it's very easy for Lenok to just lose this game. I'm a big fan of the Outpost drop, though. Some of this kind of been missing so far. He tried it right at the start and hasn't tried it again since. And this archer count. Choo-choo. Here come the boys. Vet archers ready to play. And that's going to be 3 villagers just sacrificed for nothing. Doesn't even get the Outpost down. Means he doesn't have the attack speed here right now. Scouts are going to be picked apart, though. Mangonel still rolling through. You do not have vision. Lenok, remember, this outpost, if it was complete, he would have known what was happening. However, it looks like, oh no, he creeps on the Mangonel. The Mangonel's creep on the sacred site. He sees it. And the wall's going down. He's denying entry. No fast pass for you. No way in. Mangonels are not focusing fire on the man-at-arms, though. Instead, they just let them run around like headless chickens. They snipe out the Lombos in the meantime, and afterwards they can easily turn around and catch these lads in the choke point. And the walls again. Oh, Lenok, this is not fun. You're just being teased at every turn by Salami as he waves his big salami around. Oh my, oh my. In the meantime, Ram going to be sniped out just by a few scouts. He's trying to move across to deal with that now. But that's good position for Salami. He can now recap that sacred site, and he's got a foothold from which to push, and he's going to push with the Tower War Elephants now. They're coming out. Has there been any siege? No. I don't think Lennox saw it. We saw it because we were looking... Okay, yeah, there we go. Thank God. I was about to say, like, you have to... Even if you didn't see it, you have to assume there's going to be siege weapons coming out from Salami. It just makes sense. So he has got the siege workshop. He has got the first Springwood out. Question is whether Salami is going to be matching it. Right now, he doesn't care. It's all racks. It's just going to be man-at-arms spam. Understandably so. Look what's happened. Enough time has passed. This is what he was waiting on. This is just the intermission force. This isn't the killing blow. The killing blow is going to be honed blades on man-at-arms, probably with force march as well. Yep, already prepping into research. 1 minute and 51 seconds. It's going to coincide beautifully with having the initial influx of man-at-arms, and that is when Lennox in trouble. He does not have mobility in these fights. You can see how that's affecting him here. These archers just don't care. The man-at-arms are just trivial. And that's the problem, man-at-arms. I feel like man-at-arms, when you're England in this situation, they're not meant to be your damage dealers. Elite, maybe, but normally man-at-arms, they're just your cannon fodder. They're your front line. They're your tank. You need these pristine longbowmen in position. And they just weren't there. And even more walls did. I mean, I love the wall meta coming in. I know some people find it cheesy as all hell, but I like the idea of like strategically securing ground and then like forcing kind of these funnel choke points when you have an advantage. It's something a lot of players have been getting 10 times better at than they were when the Age of Spring came to an end. I think it definitely allows you to capitalize on mangonels a lot as well. Also just makes these eco expansions safer. I think this is the kind of understanding, like the willingness to try and learn, should we say, how to use walls better, is definitely a knock-on effect from Pro Scouts nerfs, because people have realized you can't just play a condensed economy that far into the game. You might have to expand sooner. And it means that people have put more thought into where walls are good to position to protect the earlier and more exposed eco expansions like here and over here. Archers not able to min-max their damage either, which is frustrating. Yes, you have that additional range, but you want to be able to use it over these archers on the other side, but because you have to be staggered full range due to the mangonels, these lombos, only half of them are going to start shooting at the start of these fights. Double mangonel, double Tsar, Royal Elephant, they're moving out. And now the Lancers as well, oh my. And they ran straight into a mess, and they need to get out. And they are going to lose so many on the exit. The damage coming out from the War Elephants. And the problem is there's Lancers here, right? The Lancers are starting to arrive. They're going to cut you down as you run away. You can never turn around due to the War Elephants. They're going to try to now. They're going to stand their ground. They understand Lennox says, okay, if I give over any more, I've lost anyway. I have to fight. But the Mangonel's getting range, and once again, he's in retreat. Lancers held back by the Man-at-Arms. Man-at-Arms clustering again. The Mangonel's nowhere nearby just yet. They had to pack up and move forward once more. And once they get in range, Lennox has to retreat again, abandoning all hope and abandoning troops as he falls back. And he has not even begun to address the War Elephants yet. The Mangonels are just such a big problem because the Springles, if they hang around to snipe them out, they will die to the Lancers and War Elephants. And you're about to forfeit your economy at this rate. Look what's being exposed. War Elephants move in. Mangonels find small clusters on the side. Punish them. Damage done. Villagers exposed. Sniped out on the gold line. The wood line soon to be exposed as well. The War Elephants moving in. The Springles, no! He tried to move out for the Mangonels. Two of them are going to fall. Lennox cannot find any way to put a dent in Salami's front line. He finally will get through one of the War Elephants, but the price is so high. And the final sprint is going to be burnt down. Lennox will give it over. The price was too much for Lennox to bear. And Salami will say the win. Oh, really well played by Salami. I love the way he prepped his timings. I love the way that he exploited the economy and exploited the advantages of Delhi. I think that Delhi, after they nerfed Sanctity, everyone became very obsessed with this concept of building around compound defenders, right? And just building walls and how amazing it was. I remember when it first happened, people were like, oh, this is broken. This is totally unfair. It's not reasonable. It's a stupid combo. Oh, they should nerf this. Well, Salami shows you that actually your timing is much quicker than that. Sanctity is still relevant. It's still very powerful. And when you manipulate the map via walling the way he did, it makes it infuriating for slower civs such as England to play. England is very much in this matchup a civ that in that situation, if Lenok gets that initial outpost down and has a stronghold outside the base of Salami, this game looks so much different. But the fact that gets denied throws everything off tilt. It feels like at every stage in the game, Lenok is kind of fumbling around looking for a way back in because Salami has already got his number. He understood that the moment he checks that one power move that you know England and Mongols like to make, you're very comfortable to cruise into your sanctity timing and cap the sacred sites. And with the ability to build palisades in the field, especially against England that's going to be heavy longbow to begin with, they have next to no way of getting through those walls. Even with the investment into battering rams, you saw how uncomfortable it became so quickly for Lenok because that initial investment in a small army and in those battering rams backfired so hard. Really well played. Love what I saw out of Salami. Showing us exactly why he's the king of Delhi.